In Cinerama versus Technicolor, we near the end of a decades-long legal battle regarding a proposed merger between Technicolor and a third party. In 1982, McAndrews and Forbes Group acquired Technicolor through a two-step tender offer merger. Cinerama, a Technicolor shareholder, didn't tender its stock, dissented from the second-stage merger, and petitioned a Delaware court for an appraisal of its shares. Cinerama also sued Technicolor and several of its board members, alleging breaches of their duties of care and loyalty. As to the latter, Cinerama claimed that some directors were materially affected by conflicts of interest related to the transaction. The lower court applied an objective reasonable person test to evaluate the materiality of the directors' interests. The court found that because only one Technicolor director was materially conflicted, the board itself was independent and ruled in favor of Technicolor. On appeal, the Delaware Supreme Court rejected the application of the reasonable person test and remanded the case for the lower court to determine, among other issues, Technicolor's board independence and the entire fairness of the transaction. On remand, the lower court applied a subjective actual person test and again found that only one of the directors, in fact, had or would likely have been affected by a material conflicting financial interest. Regarding the issue of board independence, the lower court suggested that if actual self-interest is present and affects a majority of directors approving a transaction, then the courts should apply the entire fairness standard. Accordingly, the lower court concluded that Cinerama could rebut the application of the business judgment rule if it proved that the interested director controlled or dominated the board, or that the interested director failed to disclose their interest in the transaction to the board, and a reasonable board member would have considered the material interests significant when evaluating the proposed transaction. The lower court found that the interested director didn't dominate or manipulate the board's consideration, and a large majority of Technicolor's board was disinterested and independent with respect to the transaction. Therefore, the lower court ruled in Technicolor's favor. Cinerama once again appealed to the Delaware Supreme Court.